Hello.
Hi,
How are you today?
how are you today? I'm very well, and how are you?
I'm doing just as well.
Yes, nice to meet you. And my name is Dương, and I come from Thái Nguyên, Vietnam. So, where are you from, and what's your name?
My name is Andrew. I come from the United States, but I live in France.
Oh, you are living in France?
Yes, I am living in France.
Okay, and yes, nice to meet you. Have
Nice to meet
you,
you as well.
have you gone to Vietnam?
I have not, but I will be visiting next year.
Ooh, next year you will come
Hmm.
to my country.
Yes, I have a
Yeah.
very good friend in Vietnam, so I'm going to visit her next year.
Yes, and where does she live in Vietnam?
Uh, uh, Hanoi.
Hanoi. Yes, Hanoi is a capital of Vietnam.
Yeah,
Yeah, yes, yes, and my hometown is very, very near Hanoi.
gotcha.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I am studying in Hanoi
What do you
right now.
study?
I am studying at Hanoi Pedagogical University.
Okay. So you're
Yes,
becoming a teacher?
yes, that's right.
That's great.
I will becoming teacher in the future, so it's the same you.
Exactly. That's what I want to be.
Yeah. So, how long have you tested in Cambly?
For Cambly, I've
Yeah,
been about 7 or 8 months now.
7 or 8 months.
Hmm.
Yeah. And how old is your student in Cambly? You are
I have lots of different students of different
okay.
ages. My oldest student is 70 and
17.
70. My oldest student is 70. Let me type that out.
Okay.
That's my oldest. And then I
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of kids. So
Oh.
it's between all those ages.
Yes. So do you have many Vietnamese students in Cambly?
I have one other Vietnamese student in Cambly.
Yeah. Is this your friends?
No, no, my friend goes to school with me here.
Oh yes. And right now he or she is come to.
She is in the same class as me,
Okay.
and she also is living in France for
Okay.
as long as I am, but she is
Mm-hmm.
going to visit her family next year, and I'm going with her.
Oh, I understand. Yes. And so do you? How do you feel about Vietnamese people through her?
Oh, I've met plenty of them. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I have lots of them in my class. She's just my really good friend. They're
Okay.
very nice. They are very open
Mm-hmm.
with other people, whereas my students on Cambly and my classmates who are, say, from Japan or China or
Yeah.
Cambodia are
Yeah.
usually a little more reserved
Mm-hmm.
or a little more quiet, but
Yes.
my Vietnamese classmates and students are more outgoing and more ready to talk with people.
Yes.
So
Yes. I also want to come to your country in the future because many people say that uh, people in your country are very friendly, and I want to discover about yours. Maybe the culture in your country.
mhm.
Yes. Yes.
So do you want to ask about the United States or France?
United States.
Okay. Well, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Yes, and can you introduce something about your country or your hometown?
Okay.
Maybe that's right.
So I come from a state called Kentucky.
Okay.
which is a lot like, have you ever heard of the restaurant KFC?
Uh,
The chicken restaurant KFC?
KFC. Okay.
The K stands for Kentucky. Kentucky is a very rural state. There are lots of farms, lots of spread out land, and Kentucky is mostly famous for its horses. There are lots and lots of horses bred in Kentucky, and one of the 3 biggest horse races is called the Kentucky Derby. So people come from all over the world to see the Kentucky Derby. And the Queen of England buys half of her horses from Kentucky.
Okay.
It's a fairly nice state. I like it. It's got lots of mountains, lots of big valleys, and the weather changes a lot. It can be very hot or very cold.
My hometown is Taiwan, so it has a lot of mountains in that. Yes, but if you come to Vietnam and there are some places you can visit, maybe it's in Hanoi or Ha Long Bay, or you also come to my hometown because there are a lot of beautiful places in my hometown, and I can say that some places like let me see, Hồ Núi Cốc, and yeah, I can the text over
Please.
here. Yeah. Okay. It's a last lake, and can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Yes, and Taiwan is very famous for tea. Do you like drink tea?
I have started to drink tea. I did not used to, but I am slowly starting to drink more.
Okay, Taiwan is very famous for tea. Although now I study in Hanoi, but in my country, in my hometown, it has a lot of famous university. But I think that when I study in Hanoi, it's a capital of Vietnam, so it's more developed, and I have a lot of occasion to do like part-time job and earn some money for my study. Yes, I think it's developed than my country, and I have many chance to improve myself.
Fantastic.
Yes.
What do you want to teach when you become a teacher?
My majors is mathematics, so I will become math teachers. And yes, and right now I am also have a part-time jobs. I am a tutor. Yeah, and my students is one student is grade 1 and one student is grade 4. Yes, and yes, to be honest, when at the first university, I didn't think that I can teach primary student, or I couldn't teach try children. Yes, but when I at the second years, right now, I need a part-time job and I need work, so I often teach primary student at primary. So I realize that they are very cute, and yes, they are a lot of fun when I teach them. Yes, do you think so? Do you think so when you teach children?
Yes, I also sometimes teach in person in France, and I have some little kids that I teach, that I tutor, and they can be very excited, especially since we are learning English. I get to tutor them with songs and games. So we sing songs together, and we play board games and watch cartoons. and
Yeah.
they really like that. So
Yes, I see that students at primary right now in Vietnam are very good at English, and I think that they are better than me. And sometimes when I teach them, they speak English, so I feel that I'm very shy, because it is not my majors, and but I also really want to learn speaking English. Yes, I see that it is very necessary for me to get a job in the future. Yes, and I have some problem when I learn English. So can you give me some advice?
So the first thing that you need to do is
Yeah.
what you're already doing, which is just talking with someone in English. So obviously keep using Cambly. The other thing I would recommend is you need to read English every day, but I don't think just articles or books, but what I recommend are comics in English.
Comics.
Yes.
Yeah.
So because when you are reading comics, they have two advantages. The first is, since they're mostly dialogue, people talking to each other, you learn better how people talk. So you learn the vocabulary, the popular words, slang, but also because there's pictures, if you don't know what they're saying, you can see and get a clue.
Yes.
So there are lots and lots and lots of ways to find comics online. So you can find any kind of story you like. And one website I recommend is called Webtoon, and I will give you a link to that.
Yes.
And they're all free, so you don't have to pay for anything. And they have all kinds of stories. They have comedy, they have horror, science fiction. And if you read a half hour a day of comics, just a half hour, or books, you can do it with books, but I do recommend comics a little bit just because it's a little different. I would recommend half hour of books or articles and a half hour of comics. I really think comics are very helpful. Just making sure a half hour a day of reading is going to help a lot.
Yeah, thank you. And to be honest, when I was student at high school, I only learned this grammars about English. Yes, and I didn't have an occasion to learn about like listening or speaking skills. Only grammars. Were very boring. And when I come to university, my teacher, I also learned English, but my teacher speak English all the lesson, and I didn't understand, and I'm very disappointed about me. And I also asked my friend, she very good at English, how to improve my speaking skills, and she said that I can learn through YouTube or BBC. Yes, do you know BBC? Yeah. So I also learned, and I also learned from this. But one of disadvantages from this is I can't remember new words. It's quite difficult for me.
So we're almost out of time, but what I'd say to do for remembering words is get a special notebook, and anytime you learn a new word, either through video, comic, or a book, write it down, write its definition, and every week reread all your new words.
Yes, and okay, I think the time is up. And yes, today nice to talk with you, and thank you for thank you for the ways. I will try to